Viewers, today we're not talking about leads that investigators have found in the probe into the 10/11 Delhi blast, but at a more alarming development. In Kashmir, there is a contradiction playing out. A section of Kashmir's political class, led by the Chief Minister himself, has turned the lens inward, but not on the radicalism in Kashmir, not even on the ecosystem that repeatedly normalized radicalism when it flew the flag for Islamist supremacists like the Hezbollah or ISIS, as you can see in the visuals, but instead on themselves as victims. Yes, viewers. Now top Kashmiri politicians led by the Chief Minister himself are suggesting that all Kashmiris are victims, including those who have committed these heinous acts. This is what Omar Abdullah says. When we are looked at with suspicious eyes from every side, when attempts are made to defame us for someone else's doing, when attempts are made to bring everyone into the ambit of what few people have done, then it is obvious that it becomes difficult for us to leave for outside. Today, even driving a J&K registration vehicle in Delhi is being seen as a crime. When I do not have many security personnel with me, I myself think whether I should take out my car or not, as I do not know if anyone will stop me and ask me where I was from, unquote. It's the Chief Minister of the state. Now consider what his main political opponent has said. Iltija Mufti says, and I quote, Kashmiris are trapped in a vicious cycle. One feels quite hopeless because we are in this endless loop of mindless violence, sweeping repression and suspicion, followed by resentment and alienation, unquote. Now, you heard it, viewers. Former Chief Minister Omar Abdullah says Kashmiris are being defamed for the actions of a few, that even driving a Jammu and Kashmir registered car in Delhi invites suspicion. Iltija Mufti speaks of repression and alienation and about being scapegoated. But here are the hard facts. This sudden surge of quote victimhood unquote comes after an NCMP called Indian tourism in Kashmir cultural invasion. Viewers, he has used binaries that go completely against multiculturalism and label every non-Kashmiri as a cultural invader. But here, viewers, no one said anything. Then, after crowds in Srinagar waved Hezbollah flags, mourning a man who vowed to, quote, liberate Kashmir, unquote, and turn it into a caliphate. That has also happened, and you can see those pictures in the middle of your screens. I'm not making this up. Do you see anyone sort of there, viewers, saying that down with this man? We're glad that we are rid of this scourge because he was a radical that viewed the world in infidel, non-infidel sort of terms. Viewers, even before that, thousands rallied behind Burhan Wani. ISIS flags were dismissed as frustration. Who spoke up to denounce this open support of Islamist religious radicalism? No one. No one, not in my name, rally was held, distancing Kashmiris from terror evangelists. Viewers, the hard facts speak for themselves. As I said, no action was taken against this MP of Omar Abdullah's party, Aga Rahula, for saying what they call is tourism is not tourism but cultural invasion. A year before that, hundreds of protesters rallied in Srinagar mourning the death of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. I told you that he wanted to liberate Kashmir, turn it into a caliphate. In 2016, thousands attended Pak-backed Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist Burhan Wani's funeral. denoting him a son of the soil. There also, viewers, they talked about alienation, repression, and then obviously, viewers, the fact that there was a counter reaction, a justification, viewers, of terrorism. In 2015, National Conference patron Farooq Abdullah justified waving of ISIS flags in the valley, saying the youth was simply venting their frustration. In the absence of condemnation, can Kashmiris today expect sympathy, viewers? Is this genuine fear or a political victim card to whitewash a long history of enabling radicalism? These are some fundamental questions, and I want to begin tonight with people who also are Muslims but don't quite see the world in the same light. Shazia Ilmi, let me begin with you. We have a whole raft of politicians in this country, specifically from the minority community, who are justifying this, saying that, look, I mean, that every reaction will have an equal and opposite reaction. Every action will beget something or the other. How do you see this first, this narrative, as an Indian Muslim?
So first of all, I'd like to say, as an Indian Muslim woman and as an Indian citizen, that there is no justification whatsoever for whatever has happened. No grievance, no justification, no political spin can really explain this brutality. I also want to say that I think each one of us, instead of talking about what is happening to some Muslims because of an act of few, should introspect and talk about how did we get here. Have you heard any of these voices, any of them, whether it's the Iltijas of the world or Umar Abdullahs, the two political families that are the arbiter of the fate of the rest of Kashmiris, politically so to speak? Have you ever heard them speak as to why there is radicalism, why they themselves should distinguish between being Muslims and Islamists, and why there is something terribly wrong with Muslims living in India, these two particularly, where their families have won allegiance to the constitution and have served as chief ministers, their parents and grandfathers and what have you. So I think it's very serious. And instead of the whole ecosystem now talking about how Muslims are being victimized again, they must question the radicalization process. Because of course it is terrible for everybody. I mean, I feel for myself as an Indian citizen, as a Muslim, as a man, woman, whatever. So, there many Muslims also have died. But to speak only for those Muslims and say that they're in this endless loop, they must also talk about the loop they have created them for themselves. Terrorism, terror apologies thereafter, some sort of a normalization, and this endless hankering of some sort of rights as to say that they have been denied something. The injustice done in Kashmir. This complete perpetual martyrdom that goes on, and victimization, victim card that is played, and persecution complex. Now this is actually fanning the flames of this. Instead of looking at what is happening to these educated Muslim men and women, doctors, who are part of a terror module, as scary as the one. Why did we get here? What is the scary, dangerous narrative that has been doing the rounds, that has led to this? And I really want to call them out right now and say, all of us, and particularly the Muslims, who have any role to play in public life, must unequivocally condemn what's happened and question them and talk about them and question the elements that have led to this, the whole business of radicalization, the whole Islamization process of Muslims that is going on, and the perpetual we have been wronged syndrome. So I think in my mind that is far more important than again trying to get some kind of sympathy. Let's see हम मुसलमानों के साथ क्या हो रहा है. अरे भाई क्या कर रहे हैं आप लोग, क्या कह रहे हैं, अब तक आपने क्यों नहीं बोला, क्यों नहीं आप बाहर निकल के आए. Something sad happens in our country, and you know what, you have I feel so ashamed to say this, that we have crazies and loonies out there who talk about Sar Tan se juda and they step out. Don't you think there should have been masses out, Muslims out there saying that this not in our name, this is not Islam, this is not a religion that will be hijacked by some loony fringe, but there are dalwais of the world who says this is because of the injustice being done. So this injustice story, as long as Rahul, you keep playing out these the playback versions of we have been wrong, what has happened in Kashmir, all of that, this will continue. So they have an equal role to play, and they are very much a cause of the matter.
Okay.
They are the cogs in this wheel of radicalization, and that is scary. And I think we should talk about that instead of what they are saying. Because they're getting away by not outing
yes.
the real
let me ask the
people
PDP
who are behind this.
Mr.
They're not
Mir,
being dishonest.
Okay,
They want to have the best of both the worlds.
Okay, Mr. Mir, let's not allow sentiments to prevail. Let's allow for clear thinking to prevail. Look, no one here is wanting to
this is clear thinking. I have done Rahul, I've done a lot of thinking on this subject. I have done a whole lot of thinking on this subject since I've been a young person. I grew up in Kanpur, Chamanganj. My father was a Maulana, Deobandi Maulana. Ilmi is a khitab given by. So I am as Muslim as it gets, and I've lived there. And I know what the conversation is about. The conversations in Muslim households, which only talk about political identity and religious identity, must change. We are just not political beings or religious beings. We are cultural beings, intellectual beings. We are so many more things, but it's only about politics and religion. In every Muslim household, you'll only find that conversation.
Well, let me bring it.
It's always about left or right. And so this is something that somebody from the community must say, and I want to say that openly, because we've all been there, and people will not be honest, Rahul, with you.
Okay, so let me ask. Maybe things are changing.
And you feel like we are a traitor of a kind to say.
Okay, so
but the conversations in our lives with each other must change, and our discourse, political.
So let me ask Mr. Junaidi. I believe that he is not from Kashmir. He's a mainland Muslim. That's what we're being told. So let me ask him. Now, you heard some Kashmiri politicians, Mr. Junaidi, say that don't label us. But you don't ask, how is it that people feel the compulsion, not that I agree with them, but to label a certain community? Here, people are suspicious because no one in the Kashmir Valley, for instance, or even in the streets of Kanpur, where Shazia Ilmi grew up, or anywhere else, hit the street against Umar Nabi. There were no protests to say, sorry, this is not in our name. I'll tell you one thing, sir, that when Hindus, for example, that horrible Assamese BJP leader who put out that ghastly photograph, we all questioned. Hindus, people like me, we all said, what nonsense is this? When another individual from the BJP got up and abused a member of parliament in the Lok Sabha, I called for action against that particular individual. But I want to ask you, sir, where is the Muslim, Bharatiya Indian Muslim? Why isn't he coming out and saying that when people take out rallies for Nasrallah or for Sinwar, the Hamas chief, when he was killed, they are not being honest to themselves, to their faith, or to humanity? I don't see that, sir. Balki, what I see, on the contrary, what I see is rationalization. No, Israel is this, Israel is that. You conveniently forget the Hamas. The Hamas says that we want to remove all Jews between the river and the sea, so on and so forth. So I want to ask you, sir, is there a problem? Is there always a defense of something that perhaps you yourselves are scared of? I don't know. Are you scared of Islamism that you can't speak up? Do you fear the consequences? What is happening?
I was being very quiet when Shazia Ilmi was speaking, and I carefully heard your question. I want you both to listen to me very carefully, and I want some time uninterrupted. Now, the very issue is of national security being under threat. The question is, several years, these handful fellows who don't have the correct teachings of Islam, they don't understand what is Islam. Islam clearly says suicide is not permitted, it is prohibited act in Islam. Islam says if you are killing a human, it is similar to killing of whole humanity. These are the preachings of Islam. Islam is a religion of peace. these fellows, these radicals don't understand this point. Being educated, being from the rich families, being from the sound background, these fellows go to Sadak Chhap mullahs, the fifth fail, 10th fail mullahs, and get the teachings of Islam, which is wrong. Now, just because of these handful of fellows, entire community is being questioned, entire Kashmir is being questioned. I think this is wrong. Why? Because we have seen several years these handful of people are handful. There is no increase in this handful people, but their attacks, their terrorist activities are continuously growing. Let us find the root cause. Why it is being done? What is the main reason why these fellows, these bastards, I must say, sorry for using this language, are getting risen up? Who are they? Who are the people who are feeding them the wrong information and they are teaching the wrong Islam? And the question is on the community. Why the community is not on the ground? Let me ask you very clearly today, every panelist on the show, assume that tomorrow or today, by midnight, several thousands, lakhs of people, Muslim communities on the streets. Will that be a solution to the end of the terrorism? Will that eradicate terrorism? The very point is, let us focus on the issues which has to be done, on the methods, on the policies which can really eradicate the terrorism. I am being on street is not a question, Rahul. The question is why these fellows get fed the wrong information? Why these people are getting against the government? Why these people are against their own nation? Why these people are against their own religion?
Sir, can I ask a question?
Being a Muslim,
Junaidi Saab.
I am getting irritated because of these fellows.
Okay, so one
these
second.
Fellows don't have the,
so one second. You say
that is
how do we
what
know?
I said, but what are you doing about it? What am I doing about it?
Yeah, so one second, Shazia ma'am, 1 second. I just want to open this up. I have one little comment to make. Junaidi Saab, look, I know that you are upset because of this handful. But how do we know it's only a handful? This is my concern today.
That's what the intelligence.
No,
that's what the agencies have to do.
Sir, 1 second. Junaidi Saab, Junaidi Saab, if the majority of Muslims are not going to come out onto the streets and say that, you know, this Umar and all these Al-Falah module people, we disinherit them, we disown them, we despise them, we will all think that they have sympathy, that they enjoy some amount of latent support. Look at the number of people who show up.
On that
1 second, sir.
On that
Let me finish.
Anybody from the BJP or Hindu community condemn Nathuram Godse for killing of
Sir, obviously, we all do.
Did anybody
We all do.
condemn Anurag
Arey sir,
Thakur
has he
who
not
said
been... 1
Goliwala
second.
Salo ko?
1 minute.
Did anybody condemn?
1 second. Junaidi Saab.
Yogi Adityanath,
Junaidi
who said
Saab.
Shamshan or Kabristan
Junaidi Saab, all politicians from... 1 minute. Junaidi Saab, top level Hindu politicians from the AAP, from the Congress, from several other SP, RJD, everybody, even members from within the BJP distance themselves. These were Hindus. No, 1 second. No, where are you doing? What is Iltija Mufti saying? No, 1 second. Iltija Mufti. Okay, sir, don't shout. Sir, calm down. Junaidi Saab, 1 minute. Junaidi Saab. What is Iltija Mufti saying?
I have a problem with this attitude, Junaidi Saab. I have a big problem with the way you're conducting yourself right now. This is a great opportunity right now for you to drop the
I want to ask, Madam Advocate. 1 minute, Geo, 1 minute. 1 second, Shazia ma'am and Junaid. Junaid bhai, 1 minute. Junaidi bhai, 1 second. I just want to bring Zeba ma'am. 1 second, I want to bring in Zeba ma'am. Zeba ma'am, I have to ask you this question.
We all have
1
to
minute,
take
1 minute.
responsibility, Rahul.
Shazia ma'am, 1 second.
Why don't you ask this question of each one of us?
I want to bring in. I am asking. Now, Zeba ma'am, I have to ask you this question. It's a very important question. Look, there is a lady called Nupur Sharma. She said something. You may agree, you may think it's blasphemous, you may think it's bad, whatever. Thousands of people come out onto the streets and they say, Gusthake Rasool ki ek hi saza, sartan se juda, sartan se juda. That lady today is living in her home. She barely comes out. On the odd occasion, she comes out. Now tell me, if you believe that she has hurt your sentiments, and this is where I have to ask, Zeba, I have to ask you this question, because if you believe that, okay, this person has upset us, said something not that we like, there is a penal code, you're an advocate, there is law, book her. Even the Supreme Court has not been very kind, as you know. So there is a process. You look at another man, a Booker Prize winning author, 50 years after a fatwa, his eye is knocked out of his skull. Whether you agree with him or you don't agree with him, there's a process, a legal process, file a case, bring him to justice under whatever laws, hate speech, this, that, the other. There is a law. There are ways of dealing with these constitutionally. Yet there are people out there who do this, and no one stands up and says, not in my name. Akhlaq is killed, very rightly so. It is good to come out and protest against Akhlaq's killing. Why should it go unnoticed? And those people who are trying to withdraw the cases against Akhlaq's killer should be identified. Not in my name is a good thing, but where is the not in my name gang now? Ye kahan hai? Ms. Zohara, I have to ask you this.
Yes, as a Muslim woman, as an Indian citizen, as a young citizen of this country, I am also angst that people are not coming out in masses and like condemning. And I do agree with all the panelists that they have said. It is also a worrisome problem that a person like me, and there are very handful of Muslim people that I have seen who are condemning or voicing out their opinion. But how far, like even I am frustrated that how far I should be, weaponizing my voice that makes, I cannot take the burden of the entire community alone. I need more people. I need more people to come out in the street, come out, condemn. Condemnation is a duty. And as a citizen, as an Indian citizen, you should see what is happening. And you should come out in masses and for irrelevant things, you can come out in masses and support people. If you have to voice your opinion, if you don't agree to something, still come out. So even I am in a dilemma that what should be the next step? Why are people not coming out? Why are people in the victimhood mentality? And when you talked about Nupur Sharma too, even if you didn't like what she said, let the court take the action. And even if you didn't like it, people did come out in masses and did condemn her. So why, when there is something which is so huge, which is impacting our own nation, which is leading to our entire community being named as, that terrorism has a religion and Islam is it. So why can't you, at least if you don't agree to that, voice out? If you agree to that, then also you don't want to voice out. That is a very big problem. And
Very big problem. It's a problem of silence and silence. Well, 1 second, Junaid Saab. I want to bring in the PDP leader. 1 second, sir. You have dominated the show. Please listen. There are two sensible people who are telling you that you are actually.
Sir, I am not dominating.
1 second.
I am not dominating.
Sir,
my point is very clear. Nupur Sharma's scenario is something different.
No. Why is it different, sir? Isn't there a normal law? To prosecute, you're going to take out a fatwa and kill somebody.
Statement a national
No, 1 second. Viewers, this is a double statement. No, this is a double standard. This is where the double standard comes in. And this is problematic. This is problematic. I want to say something. 1 minute, Junaidi. Junaidi, 1 minute now. 1 minute, Junaidi. 1 minute.
This is problematic.
Junaidi, 1 minute. Now, viewers, there are many people who abuse the Hindu faith. They abuse Hindu gods. They have urinated on Hindu gods. Have Hindus come out and said, Gustake Ram ki ek hi saza, sartan se juda. No, viewers, they have not. And this is where the issue is. Because silence now means endorsement. We have come to that stage. And Mr. Mir, that's why I'm asking you, Mr. Gupta is also here on the show. He's written a lot about this, entrenched silence. And there are people, there's Shazia ma'am, there is Zeba ma'am, they are saying that you are taking the wrong side. And I'm asking you, sir, Why are you riding this tiger? Have you not seen what has happened in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Syria? वहाँ पर कौन सा RSS है? वहाँ पर कौन सा मोदी है? How has it happened that more Muslims are killing Muslims in those lands? Who is ordering them? Whose name are they doing it? Who is the... No, I'm asking you. What is the Al-Qaeda? In whose name is the Al-Qaeda? So I'm asking you, sir, अब तो आंखें खोल लीजिए and accept some responsibility. You can come out for Hamas. You can come out for Nasrallah. But you cannot come out against Mr.
Will you allow me to speak?
Nabi, Umar Nabi. No, I'm asking you. These are fundamental questions. Please answer them.
You're fine. You can ask these questions to Al Qaeda, not me. Let me
Wow.
at the outset tell
Wow,
you
wow,
that
sir.
people
Wow,
of Kashmir,
wow. No, hang on. Why not? Why not?
People of Kashmir.
No, why not?
People of
Why can't I ask you about
Kashmir,
Lashkar-e-Toiba?
I myself,
About,
we
no, Hizbul
unequivocally
Mujahideen?
condemn
Why
every
can't I ask
form
you,
of
what does the
terrorism.
Hizbul Mujahideen
Every
mean?
form of terrorism
Listen,
we condemn.
don't sit
We
here
condemn
on this.
every form
Don't
of
sit here.
terrorism
If you
and we
did,
believe-
why did you take out? Then tell me,
believe-
should you
we
have
believe
taken out?
that
1 minute.
anybody who is
Should
doing
you
any
then,
sort of
Mr. Mir,
suicide bombing
then should
and
you have taken out a
equalizing
jalous
that to
in
some sort
favor
martyrdom
of
is
Hassan
absolutely
Nasrallah?
wrong.
You condemn terrorism?
Would you-
Should you have
I'll
taken
tell
out
you.
a jalous?
See, you don't want to
in
listen.
favor of
Have you-
Burhan Wani? Should you have flown ISIS flags?
It
I'm
doesn't
asking you these
matter.
questions. It
It
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
Now,
Listen.
viewers, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what you're saying. I want
No,
to tell you
Rahul,
something.
I really
Listen,
want to say
you've
this.
called me
It's
on the
really
show
important
on
that
the
I do.
pretext
And I
that
want
you'll
you
be
to
keeping
please
quiet.
focus on this.
You will slow down
when
your
have Indian
fetish with
Muslims come out on the
communalism,
streets?
and you will allow me to speak. And
So I-
whosoever
no,
here is spreading this communalism, I'm not
I
going
don't
to
know
listen
your
and
good name,
tolerate
sir,
that.
but
You have to
please,
listen to me.
if
You've
you-
called me on
where
the show
have
on the
Indian
pretext.
Muslims come
I
out
didn't
for-
come here. You
for
begged me to
anything
come
that
here.
has rankled
So I've
them,
come here. Now you
bothered
listen to
them
me.
and agitated
I'm just
them.
simply
Last
trying to
it
tell you
was
one
on the
simple
Waqf
thing,
Qanun,
that
which was actually
we
for poor
absolutely,
Muslims, which was
absolutely
against corruption,
unequivocally
which is also a
condemn
very... No,
any
sir, I
form
want
of
to ask you this
terrorism, and
question. Before that, when did they come out and
suicide
protest?
bombing to martyrdom
When
is
did they come out?
absolutely
On
wrong.
the whole issue
Okay.
of
But
CAA.
what exactly has happened?
But
What
this is
exactly
important
has
that I say
happened?
this.
What exactly has
I
happened
think-
is
I think-
that
no, I think,
this
sir, you're being too
condemnation
clever by
has
half.
been met with
You're being too
profiling
clever
of
by half,
Kashmiris.
and you're doing the
It is
biggest
met
disservice.
with linking Muslims to terrorism, xenophobia against Kashmiris, and that's absolutely reprehensible. What you have not really done is you have not fixed responsibility, and you have not asked anybody where are the security, why was there security lapse. Shazia Albi speaks about, I
Again,
don't
you're
know,
running away
she
from the
speaks about,
problem.
she
You're
speaks
lying
about
to
these
yourself,
young
sir.
Kashmiri
Let's stop
Muslims,
Mr.
lying
Mir,
to
educated,
yourself. You're lying
educated
to yourself.
Kashmiri Muslims.
So, Rahul, I have to come
They-
in.
No, no, one second,
educated
Shazia
Kashmiri
Alvi, one
Muslims
second, one
being
second.
radicalized.
Same,
One
all
second,
right,
one
I
second.
will ask you-
No,
I will
one second, one
expose
second,
this
one
people.
second.
There's
Viewers,
nothing-
viewers,
They
one
never
minute.
want to
Lower
take
the fader.
responsibility.
Lower the
Please
fader.
ask him
One
what
minute.
has
Lower
he done.
everyone's fader. Just think about this logic that Mr. Mir is explaining here. Your fader is down, Mr. Mir. Think about this. They say that, oh, Hindutva terror is causing this backlash. Yes, okay, Mr. Mir. Hindutva terror is causing this backlash. But they went, viewers, and signed up with the BJP to rule the state. The same party they accuse of saffronizing, communalizing this country. They tied up, viewers, with the BJP. There were terror attacks. Then, did Mehbooba Mufti resign? No, she was chief minister, sir. At that time, they were not talking about responsibility. Secondly, Mr. Mir says,
There was a time
Mr.
when
Mir
people
says,
actually
Mr. Mir
resigned.
says, we are against all forms of terrorism. And if I ask him right now, will you condemn Hassan Nasrallah, in whose name they took out these marches, he will not have an answer. So let me ask you, do you condemn Nasrallah and all those?
Will you call urban naxalism Hindu terrorism?
Urban naxalism, Hindu terrorism, what is the connection there?
Yes, you must call urban naxalism that Hindu terrorism.
There is
because
left
everybody
and
that
there
there
is
is
extremism.
I
is
asked him a
Hindu.
simple question.
One
minute.
So you basically
I
just
asked a
call
simple
every-
question. No, 1 second. I asked a very simple question. You are against all forms of terrorism. He said all forms. So I said, condemn Nasrallah and look at his response. You see, viewers, therefore, many people will suspect a large number of this element. And why is he doing it, viewers? Because the Supreme Court, Mr. Gupta, has allowed for elections in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So there is now competitive politics. And who are they appealing to? The radical street. Can you believe it? This is a real problem.
Good evening, Rahul. I have patiently heard everyone for the last 25 minutes, so I'll only request not to be interrupted. Let's get a simple thing out of the way to begin with. The victims are the ones who are dead, the ones who are injured, and the ones who have left behind innocent families. Those are the victims. The victims are not those who feel they're being villainized by the state. The victims are not those who are under investigation because the country needs to be kept safe. Point number one. Let's be very clear about who the victim is, because every time a terror attack happens, often the victim is somehow the ecosystem that feels villainized and not the people who are dead, not their families who are grieving. Point number two. To everyone on this panel, no one cares about the interpretation of your religious text, how you interpret it, how righteous you are, how spiritual you are. The ones committing these heinous acts have their own interpretation, and that is what they go with
some community.
every time
No
they
one
commit
cares
a
about
terror
that.
attack. Now you
And no one
condemn
cares
it,
about your
you
expert
question the
opinion because
interpretation,
it's a
but the fact
lopsided
of the
opinion.
matter is they are not going for your interpretation. They are not going for the right interpretation also. They're going for their own interpretation, and that needs to be called out. Number three, now someone made a very interesting point here that I
Exactly.
cannot take the burden of the entire community. She's right. Zeba here is absolutely correct. But I'll tell you what she can take the burden of. She and the members of a community can take the burden of their vote. Every time a terror attack happens, a political party stands up, regional or national, and says, oh, look, because there is Hindutva terror, this happened. Oh, because these kids were misguided, this happened. Oh, because they were sons of a poor headmaster, this happened. There has been a consistent attempt to whitewash terror and radicalization ecosystem. This is what the community needs to call out today and call out the political parties as well. Because please
Well, you're
remember,
forgetting the
Kashmiris,
fact
like
that
the rest
when
of
Pahalgam
Indians, are
happened,
not the victims of
everybody,
villainization by the
every
state. They
Kashmiri
are
came
victims
out on
of
streets
potential
and
terror
condemned
attacks.
terrorism.
And a message also for the parties, Rahul. I want to
If
ask
the
them,
feeder is down,
will
then
they
what is the
now
purpose
No
of
stoop
fader is
so
down,
low
sir.
that
We
they're
can hear you. We choose to ignore you because you are not talking on the point. Yes.
Rahul,
Yeah.
and one question for the political
Because
parties who
you
tend to
choose not to
politicize
listen to
every
this.
single terror
You
attack
don't want to listen
from
to
the
the fact.
PDP to the
Every
Congress,
Kashmiri
are
came
they going
out
to
and
conduct?
condemned, absolutely
Look,
condemned the
he's going
Pahalgam
to
attack.
speak. You see,
What did
viewers,
you do? You
viewers,
spewed
he's
venom
going to
across
speak
and
over. He's going to
you
speak
stereotyped
over.
Kashmiris.
He's going to speak over everybody. These people are only interested. You said, sir, I'll ask you a simple question, Mr. Mir, and I'm moving on. If you can answer it, answer it. If you can't, you can take a leave and say a free pass. Let me ask you. You said that you condemn all terror, right, in all its forms. So I'm asking you, do you condemn those who took out rallies for Burhan Wani and for Hassan Nasrallah? Yes or no? Simple.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. But I also condemn people who killed Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi.
Now, viewers, let me tell you, his own boss, Mehbooba Mufti and her party called Burhan Wani a son of the soil. A son of the soil.
I also condemn.
They never spoke up. They never spoke up when Burhan Wani's when Burhan Wani's procession was passing and thousands of Muslims attended them as if he was some hero. And what was who was he serving? Viewers, Jaish-e-Mohammed. In whose name does the Jaish-e-Mohammed fight? I leave it to you viewers to decide.
Who are you serving? Who are you serving?
I'm serving my country, sir. I'm serving a unified India. I'm serving a secular India. If you don't like it, I know you don't like it. I know it hurts you. But I support a unified secular India and I know it hurts you. I leave it at this. Let's move on, viewers.